In my days at the College of Architecture, we were often told by the faculty that the buildings speak to us. It was very unbelievable that buildings could actually talk. But having worked in the profession for more than 20 years now, documenting many heritage buildings across the country, working on restoration projects, I truly believe in this now, that the buildings do speak to us. And you all may have experienced. Buildings tell their stories. From the grand monuments such as the pyramids to the palaces, from the forts where a lot of battles have been fought, to the sites of nuclear bombing, from the seats of political power to the humble residences of the greatest of the classical musician that we have had. Each one of them are embedded with stories. These stories liven up the buildings and make them exciting and interesting to us. Isn't it that when we are on the heritage tours and we look at the guides narrate these stories, they make it more interesting to us. They make it more valuable to us. And these are the fascinating stories that we need to continue into the future so that they connect us with our past. Many of you may have seen this building. What value is of this building if we don't know what has happened here? This is the story of a young girl who was hiding in the attic for more than 2 years, writing about the turbulent times that were faced during the World War II. She was writing about how the Jews were threatened. Yes, the diary of Anne Frank, which we all would have read at some point in our life. The chapel right here in this campus, which talks about the stories of the Jesuit missionaries who came here in the 19th century. The beautiful paintings, if you haven't seen, I would really request all of you to visit this place. The wonderful paintings on the ceilings and the walls here depict the life of Saint Aloysius Gonzaga. These paintings were done by Antonio Morcini. Brother Antonio Morcini worked and only in 2.5 years did all these paintings. Amidst the challenges, when these paints were not available in India and Europe was too far to get them, he locally developed these paints using vegetable dyes. Such are the fascinating stories that we have. And these stories, if we are from the place, help us relate to the city and the place. In fact, if you all may have experienced, if you are from that same city where these stories have happened, they kind of resonate with our identity. We connect with them. And that's the very most important, valuable things that these buildings lend us. Humans connect with the cities and places through these spaces and buildings. But these stories are being lost. The heritage buildings are now being brought down. There are various pressures which are resulting in this, from nature to wars, which we can see now. It's happening across the world. We lost the Bamia statues in Afghanistan, the World Heritage Sites of Aleppo in Syria. We are now having wars in Ukraine. These are again a big threat to these heritage buildings. And it can be also due to various pressures that people are facing. It could be because of the economic pressures, it could be because of the development pressures, or sometimes even family litigations, which is resulting in this. These products of heritage, of history, are being toned down. Remember, the cities are not just about the grand monuments that we visit. What is getting lost are the humble stories of the people, of the philanthropies, of the craftsmanship that we have here. And these are the things that we have to find ways to preserve them. Else, we will soon have cities with no history to experience and no heritage to relate to. So, what is it that we all can do? Where can we play a role in preserving our past? And that is an important question which comes to all of us. There is government who is doing its job, who is working on some heritage buildings such as the National Gallery of Modern Arts. But I think it's time we as concerned citizens, as responsible citizens, as heritage enthusiasts, as techies, as entrepreneurs, as venture capitalists, look at what the opportunity that these heritage provides us. There are ways in which these buildings can be preserved. And these are some things that we need to explore. It's not always about funding or investing. It is also about supporting such initiatives like the Lobos in Mangalore, who have been running these tile factories for more than a century now. Today, they have repurposed a part of the factory as a recreational space to sustain the tile industry. Not far from here is Kannur, where we see a similar case of how an old brick kiln has become a center for startups. Such an innovative idea to kind of give new meanings to our heritage buildings. And this is like the old kiln, which has now become a conference room for the startups. We have Nimranas, who run a complete hotel chain on just this idea of repurposing old buildings and converting them into heritage hotels. And that's again a very fascinating story to understand. Why are they doing this? What do you think? What is making them or inspiring them to take this up? Is it the economic benefits? Is it the whole idea of preserving one's heritage? Or could it be sentimentality? Or is it all of the above? Here is an example of how an old orphanage in Bangalore has been converted to a boutique. And this is what the owner has to say about this. Repurposing these buildings is not easy. It comes with umpteen challenges when you have to give a new use to a building which it wasn't built for, such as services, which have become norms and comforts of our today's time, but which were never there then. It's like a palace having an air conditioning or an attached bathrooms. Sometimes it's quite intriguing to think about what a king would think if he had to come back today and look at his same palaces being converted as heritage hotels. Yeah? But when we give these new meanings, it's also a responsibility to us. The kind of use and function that we give them should be adaptable to these buildings, respecting its values. If any use is given which takes away the stories that the buildings have, it's not a good change, a philosophy that we as professionals follow in our practice. Then we have to see that these adaptive reuse projects, which have great advantages, it kind of reduces your carbon footprint, it kind of has a good climatic impact on the climatic change. But what is required is a fine twist to this whole idea of adaptive reuse by making it socially inclusive, like it was done in the case of Freedom Park, which is actually an old central jail which was converted to a Freedom Park, a park for one and all in Bangalore. Maybe we can explore it like a social venture tomorrow. The whole idea of heritage conservation needs to go beyond the grand monuments. I reiterate, the Archaeological Survey of India, the government that we know about, can take care of our World Heritage Sites. But as citizens, we need to play our role in seeing that how we can reinterpret the products of the past by giving them new meanings so that we can continue with them to the future for the coming generations to come and experience these stories that are part of them. Thank you.